Hey guys, what's up? It's Katie and I'm back with another Marvel Contest of Champions video, and it is Top 5 Thursday. So today we're going to be going over the top 5 Mystic Champs that I would like to see added to the game in 2021. So like the ones before this, I'm going to go over a brief history of the character in the Marvel Comics universe and kind of give an explanation of what powers and abilities I think they would have. So now this is my opinion and my opinion alone, so make sure you let me know in the comments below who you think are the top 5 mystics that should be added to the game in 2021. So without further ado, let's get the countdown started with, I'm sure you guys are going to guess my number 1 pick, and that goes to Dracula. Now, Dracula is the most powerful vampire in the Marvel universe, and he is considered actually Lord of all of Earth's vampires. Now, Vlad's forces were supposed to lose a battle due to the deceiving dreams from Varney, who actually is truly the first vampire and actually had chosen Vlad the Impaler to be his successor. But they managed to drive the intruders out of Turkey based off of Vlad's basic, his strategic abilities that he has. But the victory over the Turkish soldiers was short-lived, and all of his troops were mercilessly slain by Apocalypse and his Riders of the Dark. So Vlad was actually the only survivor of the attack, and he was sent to Leyenda, who turned out to actually be a vampire and made him one of her own. So now, Dracula in the game, I think, should have some sort of indomitable will and would be immune to inverse controls because his mind is so powerful, and only really strong characters like Doctor Strange would be able to withstand the forces of his mind control. Now, he would also place staggers similar to Sim Supreme and would have high energy and physical resistance. Now, obviously, he would have some awesome bleed damage over time, and he would do actually more bleed damage to female champions because in the comics, he actually he prefers to feed off of female characters because he considers their blood to be more pure than men's. Okay, now let's talk about regen, because Kabam could actually do this a couple different ways. So one, they could give him an LMD, sort of like Nick Fury, right? Where he dies, but he technically comes back to life because, let's face it, Dracula never stays dead. Now, they could also give him kind of a life steal function, and he would steal a portion of his health back based on how much bleed damage he is doing on his opponent. And I really like that feature. I would like for them to add that versus the LMD sort of thing that Nick Fury has. So that's how I think Dracula should be, and he is, of course, my number 1 pick. Number 2 on the countdown belongs to Adam Warlock. Now, Adam Warlock was known merely as him. He's basically an artificial being created by the hand of several mad scientists who formed an elite scientific cadre, the Enclave. Now, him later met the person who would change his life, the High Evolutionary, who gave him his now known name, basically Adam being for the first of his kind, and Warlock because men would fear his power. Now, they gave Adam the soul gem that would change his life, and he could have some heavy physical resistance in the game. He would obviously have energy-based attacks, and he would place judgments on the opponent, thereby canceling their buffs. Now, Adam Warlock would use spells similar to Sorcerer Supreme, and he would have a regen similar to Mcoc. So while he's not fighting, while you're not using him in a quest, he's actually regenning, but it would have to be for more than just 2 mobs on the path, because let's face it, that really does nothing for Apocalypse. So I think giving that sort of similar thing to Adam Warlock would be epic and would help tie him into his cocoon state in the comics. Number 3 on the countdown goes to Enchantress. Now, Amora was actually born in Asgard, and at a young age, she began to learn the ways of magic as an apprentice to Carnilla. However, she would soon be banished because she was way too undisciplined. Now, Amora quickly decided to train herself in the ways of magic by seducing other sorcerers, forcing them to reveal their ancient secrets to her, and she became one of the most powerful sorceresses in all of Asgard. Now, Enchantress could be a cool Mystic Champ to have because she would be immune to all the poisons in the battle realm. Sorry, Voodoo. And infections. Get wrecked, Warlock. Now, all of her attacks would be energy-based, and she would place a concussion debuff off of one of her special attacks and a slow debuff off of another. Now, her medium attacks would place an incinerate debuff on the opponent, and each time the opponent is incinerated, a buff on the opponent is nullified. Her various spells or pre-fight abilities would power drain and lock, regenerate, paralyze, or disorient the opponent. Now, she could also have an increased attack against #male champions because obviously she's a seducer of men. Number 4 on the countdown goes to my girl, Morgan Le Fay. Now, Morgan Le Fay was born in Tintagel Keep in the 6th century England, and her half-brother is actually King Arthur, who she despises, like a lot. Now, Morgan was fostered in safety by her mother's elder sister, Vivian, because her mother basically forgot that Morgan existed when she remarried and had her half-brother, Arthur. And she studied this, and Vivian was actually the Lady of the Lake of Avalon, and then became the priestess of the mother goddess, who the Celtics call Danu. Now, Morgan would have 3 pre-fight abilities based on the 3 sources that her magic is derived from. So she would have her fairy heritage, which would grant her increased attack, her Gaia, which would grant her regeneration and poison immunity, and Danu would grant her power gain. Now, all of Morgan's attacks would be energy based, and she would place a Spectre debuff on the opponent, reverse healing after one of her special attacks. Number 5 on the countdown goes to Captain Britain. So Brian Braddock, worked at Darkmoor Nuclear Research Facility when it was attacked by the Reaver. Now, Brian actually escaped, but was run off the road, and he crashed down the side of a cliff and was fatally wounded, but woke to find himself faced by the image of the magician Merlin and his daughter Roma. Now, Brian was given a choice between the Amulet of Right and the Sword of Might. And so Brian, deciding that he wasn't much of a fighter, selected the Amulet of Right and was transformed into Captain Britain. Now, Captain Britain would possess the Star Scepter, obviously, which would produce energy projectiles. He would also have durability charges similar to Red Guardian, and he would be immune to inverse controls. And what's a countdown without an honorable mention? And this week's honorable mention is a little bit off the wall, and I threw this guy in here because Kabam has a tendency to pick really obscure characters to add into the game. And Mcoc is, of course, probably a really obscure character. Not a lot of people know about him. Of course, they know about him from Thor: The Dark World, but Mcoc the Accursed was born in the Dark Woods and is, of course, a dark elf. Now, he proved himself to be an enemy of both the humans of Earth and the gods of Asgard. So his greatest weapon is actually called the Casket of Ancient Winters, which contains mystical forces that could reproduce the overwhelming frigidity of another of the 9 worlds. So it's basically the realm of ice. So obviously he would inflict a cold snap debuff on the opponent. He could do physical damage, inflict bleed and rupture from the various weaponry that he creates, and would have a power gain and place a stagger on the opponent similar to Hood. But anyways, guys, that is it for the top 5 Mystic Champs that I would like to see added to the game in 2021. Let me know in the comments below, what Mystic Champs would you like to see this year? Let me know in the comments below, and let's discuss. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching, and enjoy this quick word from Kevin Smith.
Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith, and if you enjoyed the mediocre Mcoc video full of scrub gameplay, then show Katy some love by hitting like and subscribe, man. Katy don't ask for much. Katy did ask for this. Katy did. So do like Katy did and bug people and get you to like and subscribe, man. She's doing that MCOC beautifully. Not mediocre. Katy!